Do you still have a White Snake cassette? Well, if you do, we got the perfect car for you. We're giving away this 1987 Buick Grand National. And it can be yours. Every dollar you spend at lsnasty.com, Justin Swanch from 69.com will get you automatically entered to win this beast. All right, we're keeping it real. Quick video, one take, filming on the iPhone. It's Friday. Eating a butterscotch crimpet. If you know the deal, you know the deal. We're giving away 87 Buick Grand National, lsnasty.com. Brand new black sheep shirt out. Unreal. Black sheep shirt, unreal. Unbelievable. Can't believe it. Badass. Talking about Slick Rick, as you can tell by the title of this video. I want to do a whole video talking about four-wheeling setup and everything, because I say we change the bar a lot, and y'all have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Some of you guys do, but a lot of you guys don't. So, I'll do a whole whiteboard video on that because there's some crazy shit going on. But every time we run the car, we bring it in the shop, do some preventive maintenance on it. We took all the weight off of it because we've just been kind of securing some weight with a bolt, which is fine, but we're going to make it nicer. Shout out to Russell. Russell's been hooking us up with a weight. Traded him some GoPros for that. We kind of messed the floor up back here, the carbon floor. If you noticed the last video, when you do a burnout, it's getting a little bit of smoke in the cabin because those round weights were kind of pushing up on the floor. So we re-riveted the floor down, redo how that weight mounts, drain the transmission fluid, drained the engine oil, took the rock arms off. Scott was going to run the valves because this is what you do preventative maintenance-wise. We haven't really been leaning on this thing yet, but we're going to here in a little bit. So we want to make sure that we're keeping up on the preventative maintenance. We know how many passes are on the motor. And we found some carnage, which to some of y'all might not look like a bad thing. Some of y'all might not even notice it. That's a broke valve spring. That's not good. Let's see if we can get it from this angle. Look at that. Look at that thing. That thing ain't good. That ain't good. That's no bueno. So we ended up breaking a valve spring. When you zing the RPMs, you knock the tires off. That's not good on a motor. We haven't been checking the valves or spring pressure between every pass because we really haven't been leaning on it. And I mean that, like, being 100% real. Like, the car is going very fast, but the motor, we're not leaning on it at all. We don't have a lot of power in it. Holy shit, this must have fallen on the ground. We're going to get a different one. We're not leaning on it at all. We're not ripping on it. We don't have the boost turned up. We're just making some passes, trying to get the chassis dialed in. We haven't turned up the power. We haven't turned up the boost. We haven't mile an hour at a crazy lot. We're just trying to get the chassis right, which we finally got the chassis right. So now we're going to get ready to turn the lockup on. I know I did a video. Listen, you guys have got to get better. When I say something absolutely ridiculous, like, I'm scared of the lockup, so we took the lockup out of it. That's not real. Who does that? It was a joke. And then I made a post on TikTok, like, about to turn this lockup on. And someone's like, oh, but you just took it out. No, I didn't take it out. Why would I take the lockup out? I'm not scared of it. It was just a joke. I was trolling. I'm a troll. That's what I do. You guys should know this. So now we got the chassis dialed in. That last pass is why I want to do a whole separate video. Like, I want to show the data on it. The rear shock is, it's perfect. It's doing exactly what we want it to. It's in control the entire way. And you put a click in the shocks, it lays the whole shock graph down, not just one part of it. So we are very close to being exactly where we want with it. But we haven't really been leaning on the motor, so we haven't checked a lot of stuff. We've been checking the valves. The valves, right? We haven't had to adjust the valves really the last 2 times we went out. But we went to check it this time, obviously. Broke valve spring, not good. Part of preventative maintenance, you do have to be looking at this stuff. When we are leaning on it super hard, when we are turning the lockup on, when we're running max boost, valve covers are coming off every pass. We're looking at everything, checking spring pressure. I mean, it's the real deal. I mean, this is a whole level up. talked to Mark on the lockup converter. He said every 10 to 12 passes, I have to take the converter apart, new bearings and new lockup clutches. Every 10 to 12 passes, that's a lot. So it's a maintenance monster. I thought it wasn't a maintenance monster. I lied to myself to get to this point, but it is a maintenance monster. This and the Hemi, like, you can just work on these. Just this and the Black Sheep is plenty for what we got going on. But we have a bunch of other cars, so that's really fun. Yeah, the Schaefer's oil is great. Straight 50 weight, badass, love it, works good, super happy with it. But the Valvespring, obviously, it broke, I think, on the last pass. You can't see it in the data. We have EGTs, exhaust gas temperature probes, down there. If you have a dead cylinder, you could normally see it in the EGTs. If you have a broke valve spring, you would have something going on with the EGT where you could see it. So I think it happened either in the shutdown or at the top end of the racetrack. But that's not here nor there. We do have a broke valve spring. So I want to give a shout out to my guy Sheldon over at T&D Machine Products. These are T&D rockers on here. We'll show them real quick. T&D are the best by far, rocker arm wise. Look at that. Billet steel rocker. Dude, that thing right there, gangster. The Black Sheep actually had a very similar rocker. These are 1:8 ratio. Had a 1:7 ratio on the Black Sheep steel rocker. And honestly, I have the Jessels for the new motor. I think I might sell them and just get the T&Ds. The Jessels are good. Listen, I'm not saying they're bad. But if you want the best, like, you can have good, you can have really good, or then you can have the best. I don't want good or really good. I want the best. So I called my guy Sheldon up at T&D. And he's, talked a little smack to me. He's like, oh, you Jessel brother. No, not really. I mean, he did give me a little bit of shit, but I knew it was coming. So I called him up and said, hey, listen, we got some stuff from Proline for swapping valve springs, but it's a head-off tool. So you'd have to remove the head, remove the rocker arms, remove the head, new head gasket, put the head on, torque it back down, put a heat cycle on it, retorque it. Way too much, because you can. Do we need to have the heads checked right now? No, I don't think we do. We've literally been making passes on 30 pounds of boost, 35 pounds of boost, 40 pounds of boost, 45 pounds of boost. That thing can see 70 pounds. So I called him up and said, hey man, you've got me an LSM tool before. This is the tool that we use for torque on the locking nut for the rocker arm when setting valve lash. That's what this is for. So you put this in there, click it, right torque spec, you're good to go. LSM has a bunch of other tools. I called up Sheldon and said, hey, man, can you get this stuff to me by Friday? He's like, man, not a problem. So here we are. Look at this stuff. We got some badass shit. So he gave me another one of, here, there's a part number too. If you guys have adjustable rocker arms, I highly recommend getting this. Bad to the bone. It's a torque wrench. So you torque everything to the right spec. You don't over tighten it. You don't leave it loose. Use this, you're good to go. And it's got a hole cut out, and it comes with some Allen keys. So you can thread it right in there, and you'll never lose them. I always lose them, so I have to bring my own Allen key. But highly recommend that. Now, this is a valve spring checker. So you're going to put this on there, you're going to pull down, you're going to see what your pressure is. And that way you can see if your spring is going away. More than likely, those springs are dead on that guy because we had a broke valve spring. They got 50 passes on them. I don't know how long they're supposed to run for, but I could tell you probably one before that one because it broke. So if we're at 51 passes, maybe they're only good for 50 passes. You can catch them right here, and you can see if some are going out. Normally, if one's going out, I assume they're all going out, but this is a very nice tool. There's your part number right there for your spring checker. So that's awesome. And then this is what we needed. This is the on-head spring removal tool. So you're going to bolt that to the head. This is going to go over the spring. It's going to push it down. You're going to be able to take the retainers and lock out, and the locks and retainer out, and swap the spring, put the new one in there, compress the spring, put the new lock and retainer in it. So we got this guy, and then their speed handle as well. This thing is pretty cool. So I want to give a big shout out to my guy Sheldon over at T&D. He's the man. If you guys need rocker arms, call him up. And then they make rocker arms for everything. I mean, the 481X, the Hemi stuff, the LS stuff, the small block Ford stuff. They made custom rockers for me. You name it, they got it. And Sheldon got me the hookup through LSM. So big shout to Sheldon, big shout to T&D, big shout to LSM. And then Proline, I got Proline Danny. I called him up. I already have a set of valve springs and retainers. but we need to have a spare set. So with this motor, everything, if we have a set and we use it, you need to reorder and have more stuff. So we got more stuff here. We should be good to go. And we're planning to go to Darlington next weekend. So we're going to have fresh set of valve springs on the whole motor. Going to be turning the lockup on. We're going to have some lockup clutches and bearings with us, and we should be ready to rock and roll. So quick little update. Slick Rick, wounded, but not dead. Thank God the valve, it didn't break both valve springs or didn't knock the retainer and the locks out and drop a valve, because that would have sucked. We're going to have some more burst panels in there, and we're looking at possibly spare motors. So this is what we got going on here. Slick Rick will live again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to go over to lsnasty.com. We'll see you in the next video.